Welcome back, agents, to Delta Green with Tabletop Anthologies. We're continuing today with some familiar faces, and we've got a new agent joining us. We'll get to that in a little bit, and describe the new agent and everything. But first, we're going to go around, and it's been a little while since we've been playing Delta Green here, quite a few weeks since our last session. So, just as a reminder, we've got Turg playing Agent Kingpin, Alpha Wolf Zero playing Agent Kenrich, Tabletop Tony playing Agent Crypt, and Agent K could not join us, so instead Preacher was able to join us today for playing Agent Kilroy for the first time. So instead of going right to our next scenario here, we're doing in Delta Green what's called the home scene. This is the downtime between operations in Delta Green. It's sort of a way for the agents to explain what they're doing between operations, and essentially functions as a way to both expand a character's background and also possibly raise some traits or skills, but maybe lower some things too, depending on what happens. So we're gonna start. We'll just start in the top left here with Agent Kingpin. Agent Kingpin, which personal pursuit did you choose?
We're going to be fulfilling responsibilities tonight.
All right. What sort of responsibilities are you fulfilling? And you don't have to be too detailed if you don't want to. It's all totally up to you how you want to go about doing that.
Absolutely. It's been a couple holidays since I've been able to see the kids and wife. They don't talk to me that often anymore, but I had to focus on what was going on at the zoo. I had some inland taipans that needed to be dealt with and paid for, and I with the stuff that's been going on recently, I haven't exactly had the time to meet for some of the meetings that I was supposed to, and so some of those guys get kind of pissed when you don't give them an exuberant amount of fucking money that you owe them for these animals.
Right.
So basically, I had to go and pay for these taipans.
All right. So for that one, that costs you nothing, no damage to your bonds or anything, but you need to do a sanity check. Oh. Failure. But in this case, that means you improve a bond by 1.
Oh. I don't think your bonds can go past your willpower, can they? I think this is a maxed out bond.
They cannot go past your charisma. Yeah.
Charisma.
Yeah, essentially what's happened is you've failed to fulfill, or rather you fulfilled your responsibility. Now that I'm looking at it, the only way it reduces the bond is if you do a fumble. So in this case, you're able to fulfill your responsibilities. You maintain that bond that that is related to this personal pursuit, and nothing else really too excited happens in this case.
Right, like I was saying, they were kind of pissed that I missed the first deadline, but I got my taipans. They're beautiful.
Nice, very good. So, pretty much business as usual for Agent Kingpin and his downtime there. So we'll go to Agent Kenrich next. Which personal pursuit did you choose?
Well, Agent Kenrich is going to head back home, but then he's going to go and he is going to continue to pursue what brought him to Delta Green in the first place. So he's trying to figure out all the pieces to that puzzle, and he's going to stay on that case while he's at home.
All right. And so for that one, the handler secretly rolls either criminology or occult. Which one would you like to have me roll?
I don't think it has anything to do with criminology, but more of the occult nature.
Okay, I'll use occult. Do a private GM roll. That should set it to secret from you. Okay, so this was related to. Do you want to expand on that at all? I don't know how much you want to give away to the other players, but this is a case that kind of brought you into Delta Green and got you recruited, right?
Yeah. So essentially, Agent Kenrich, he was down in, I guess this little cavern, and he found some weird artifacts and things of old, and he saw something out of the corner of his eye moving and stuff like that, and he's trying to figure out if it's still there or what it may be tied to. So
Okay. Yeah, you find a clue. It's not a big clue, but it's something, a lead to go on. You come across the name of a god, a deity worshipped by some of the oldest recorded Native American cultures. And that deity's name, I am trying to find. Here it is. I'll put it in the chat here. And you believe that this is very much related to what you've encountered, and that further research on this might lead to more information.
awesome. So he's pretty ecstatic about that. Does his bonds go down, don't they?
Yes, so for the cost for this one, you reduce a non-Delta Green bond by 1, and you also gain 1d6 minus 3 sanity.
Okay.
roll
So actually,
that.
his one bond that's going to go down, I think, would be Martha, his secretary back at work, because he's not really shown back up to work for a while.
Okay.
So she's kind of like taking the load for that, and technically, he's still going home every night. So I think that's where it would affect the most. And then he's gonna roll 1d6 minus 3. So he doesn't gain any sanity.
Yep, no sanity gain. All right. So next up, Agent Crypt.
So, Agent Crypt would be hard back at work at the FBI, but not for reasons why the FBI has employed me, but for my own personal pursuits. After the last investigation, I took some samples of what I could from what's left of its corpse and from the water on the inside of the septic tank, trying to find out anything I can about the unnatural. So in that case, I'll be studying the unnatural as my mechanic.
All right.
That is going to lower a bond by 1.
Yeah, lower, reduce a non-Delta Green bond by 1d4.
Okay. So. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick Joel, my FBI partner. I'm going to roll a d4. A 3. So at the FBI, me and Joel, we were tight as brothers. Watching each other's backs, the trauma we went on missions together. It really brings people closer together. Shared trauma like that. So my partner has been seeing me dive deep into whatever I'm doing. I barely share anything with him anymore. He finally works up the gum show, if you will, the gumshoe. I forget what it's called, the gumption. There we go. To talk to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And our conversation is awkward, jagged. You can tell I'm very irritated. Honestly, I just want him to leave me alone so I can focus. And in my anger, I I let out an outburst. I yelled at him, told him to leave me alone, and that for good friends, he understands that I'm going through something. He wishes he could help me, so it doesn't hurt him as bad as a normal person would. But it did leave a little scar in his heart. So, and our relationship as partners.
All right. So I'm going to say for that one, give me a sanity check.
Fine. Fair enough. No.
Okay. So you lose 1 point of sanity while studying this.
Okay.
Do you remember what exactly the samples were that you took? Can you describe that?
So I'm looking at like scabs. I'm looking at like scar tissue. The bits that I could find in the water had flakings and crustings of her old rotted flesh inside. So I was able to isolate some flesh samples. I was able to really thoroughly investigate on a molecular level what this tissue is doing. And even dead, some of the things that I found were, and then I'll let you fill the rest.
Okay. So after diving deep and probably for a couple months straight, most of your free time is spent just studying these samples, and they're starting to deteriorate over time. But you're noticing that there's certain cells within these samples that have been affected by something. There's something that's making them appear by all means to be dead, but these few cells keep them alive in some way or keep them moving. And it doesn't really make any sense to you, but you feel like you've learned something. You've peeked behind the veil a little bit where humans shouldn't be looking. And for that you gain 1d6 plus 1 unnatural skill. All right.
Weird. I actually have skills in that now. Holy shit.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, okay, cool. I'm happy about that. Thanks.
All right, so now we go to Agent Killjoy. So Agent Killjoy, you haven't actually been out on an operation with Delta Green yet. You've been recruited. This will be your first operation coming up in this session. But what in the past couple months has Agent Killjoy been working on?
So Agent Killjoy has he's been transitioning from one life to another. He's finding it hard to reconcile the two, not being able to speak of the things that he's been doing. He's caught some flack from his previous employer for things that they've caught on to him doing, but it's all been in preparation for his next mission. With that being said, he would be spending all of his time doing some special training, specifically learning things that are going to be pertinent to his new work or his new job within Delta Green. And with that, he would reduce the bond by 1.
All right, so that's the special training personal pursuit. You're reducing a bond. There's no roll for it. And which skill are you gaining?
So I would be gaining a dexterity, specifically the lockpicks skill.
Okay. Yeah, that'll definitely come in handy at some point. All right, so we've heard a little bit about the agents, what they've been doing the past couple months. Our last scenario. Oh, we got a new sub. Thanks,
yeah.
Diesel Shot. We got some skill gain from Diesel Shot there. So our last scenario that we played through, the last operation, was taking place in April of the year 2000. It's been a couple months now. It's actually July 1st. It's a Saturday. The weekend before the 4th of July. So you might have some plans or whatnot. Your characters might have plans for that weekend coming up before the 4th of July, but they're canceled because Saturday night, you get an anonymous email or a letter, maybe a note slipped under a door, some form of contact where an address is the only thing you're given, along with a one-way ticket to Fresno. And that departure is scheduled for an hour from now. So without any time to lose, you all immediately leave as you've signed up to do. You knew this was going to come one day. A few of you have already been through this similar situation. So you head off to Fresno. You get to the airport, go through security, and you arrive in Fresno at about 5 a.m. Agent Kingpin, Kenrich, and Crypt, you actually arrive all at a similar time there, and Agent Crypt has already organized some transport on the way from the airport to this building where you're supposed to meet up. So I don't know if you want to give a little details on that, Agent
Kenrich.
Crypt.
Oh, Kenrich, Kingpin, you two came into at the same time. Did you fly the same flight?
Same connecting flight, but not the same original flight.
Right.
Of course. I mean, I don't know where you live, but it's good to see you. And I extend my hand to shake each one of you. Locking eye contact. I have a limo waiting outside. I figured, I was hoping for you two at least. I mean, doing some situation like this, it's kind of stressful. I know there's some champagne in there as well. So you'll both feel free to live in the lap of luxury for a minute. Soak in the subsidies of your tax money.
My boy got his stretch. Hell yeah.
So much for laying low on this mission.
Yeah, we'll lay low when we need to. There was no details. We don't know what the hell's going on yet. But it's just us two then. Where's Kay?
Yeah, Kay is nowhere to be seen. But you load up in your limo, head to the
It's probably
building.
overloaded on potassium.
Yeah, head to the building marked on the note that you received, the correspondence you got, and it's a very nondescript building. There's not really much around it. It's surrounded by a parking lot, and as you approach the front doors, it seems to be an office building. There's multiple different office areas in it. You find the correct office unit, the building unit to go to, and you find that it's an accounting firm. So you go inside of this accounting firm, and at the front desk, you're greeted by someone sitting there that immediately seems to recognize what you're there for, because there's not really any conversation. You're just told to head down a back hallway and find a familiar sight back there, a very dusty meeting room, just like the last operation. This is where you're going to be briefed. And you do notice as you walk into the meeting room that there's a very small Delta sign carved into the door frame. But you head on in, take a seat in there, and get comfortable. And only a few minutes later, there's an unfamiliar face that walks in, and he looks at the three of you. Preacher, what do they see?
So as Agent Killjoy would walk into the room, you would notice a man that is he's probably about 5'11". Best guess, probably under 220. He's bald, kind of like stubbly hair, and a stubbly beard that goes around. He's wearing a black suit, white shirt, black tie, and he steps in and immediately notices the three of you. And immediately he doesn't seem, he just walks in, kind of gets a view of the room. And after you notice like this stern face, looks around, notices everybody in the room, he gives a slight head nod. He doesn't say anything as he comes in and finds the nearest seat.
So you're briefing us this time, huh?
I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. It's my first day.
Your first.
So this is Kay's replacement then.
Okay. Wait. First day for what?
You ask an awful lot of questions. I don't like that.
Listen, whatever your name is, we've all been acquainted. You're the only new one here.
Wasn't talking to you, Pretty Rick. You ask a lot of questions. I don't like that.
I kind of like stretch my shirt and back towards Kingpin and Kenrich in the back there. I give them a look, both of them. I turn back to Killjoy. What's your name?
Killjoy, as far as you know.
Crypt, as far as you know.
You see Agent Killjoy just kind of take almost like he smirks for a minute, almost like a, not necessarily a smirk is like being sarcastic, but almost a sigh of relief. And he kind of settles a little bit, like he's not so defensive.
All right. And just as a reminder to everyone, let's go around and get a little bit of a description from each of the characters that were already in the room. So we'll start with Agent Kingpin. What's Kingpin look like sitting there?
Sure. Kingpin's got a small frame, probably like 5'10". He's got a suit on that's a bit too big for him. He's got greasy, slicked black hair and green eyes, kind of big teeth. It's kind of like a skinny Peter Pettigrew. If I could give a description for it.
It's beautiful.
All right. And Agent Kenrich?
Agent Kenrich is a little bit taller. He's about 6'2", 6'3", salt and pepper hair, pretty stocky. But it's an odd look for a man of this stature, but he always stands with like an inquisitive posture, like he's always thinking about something in the back of his mind, that kind of thing. And even during all this, that's what he's doing.
All right. And Agent Crypt?
Crypt is a taller gentleman, about 6'1", 6'2", sharp cut, fade, very police, very FBI stereotypical, clean cut, clean shaven, fitted dress shirt, black tie, with very similar to what I'm wearing now. His overall demeanor is very proper, very good posture, upright. So he looks at everyone straight in your eyes the whole time you're talking to him. Nice firm grip. Very stoic, very procedural, but has a sense of humor.
All right. And as the tension kind of starts to settle a little bit in the room, there's a familiar face that walks in the door this time. It's Agent Kennedy. And Agent Killjoy, you would have met Agent Kennedy during your recruitment. He walks in, and as usual, he's wearing a rather ill-fitting suit. The suit that is not really too big for him, but rather he's too small for the suit. He's already smoking, cigarette hanging out of his mouth, coffee mug in his hand, bags under his eyes are red. You can tell he's been up for a while. He probably didn't get any sleep on the airplanes like you guys probably did. And underneath his arm is tucked another manila folder, like you had seen in the last briefing. He walks in, before walking to his seat, turns around, locks the door, and then sits at the end of the table that you're all at. Looks you
Kennedy,
all over.
Agent Kennedy.
He just nods to you and says, I see you've all met the new recruit. This is Agent Killjoy, if he hasn't given you a name yet.
It took some poking and prodding.
I see.
You hear Killjoy just kind of chuckle in the background.
Not much time to waste here, so let's get down to it. And he takes a sip of his coffee. And deep breath, and he prepares to give her your briefing. You can tell that there's a lot of information that he's about to spit out at you, and he begins. All right, agents, need you to go to the Rancheria Falls Trailhead Ranger Station. That's at the Hetch Hetchy region of the Yosemite National Park. You're supposed to investigate there. There's a unexpected recovery of a 6-year-old child that's been found wandering naked in a field by one of the rangers there. That happened early yesterday, Saturday morning. This child has identified himself as Brandon McGill of Topeka, Kansas. He was asked to call his parents. After a brief conversation with the parents, who were beside themselves with a tearful excitement from what we hear, very hysteric, they said that they were going to depart to Yosemite immediately. They're expected to arrive this morning, actually. He looks at his watch. Maybe about an hour and a half from now, 6:30 a.m., they should be landing in Fresno here. So, after this confusing conversation with the family, the supervising park ranger contacted the FBI, sent photos over They've got an internet connection up there at the trailhead, apparently. Sent those photos over to the FBI and got a positive ID on this kid. That's where things get strange. Brandon McGill disappeared from the Hetch Hetchy area in 1980 at age 6. He still appears to be age 6 from these reports. At this point, he should be, over 30 years old? I can't do the math right now, but you get the idea. He shouldn't be a kid anymore. But one of our agents, we'll call her Agent Jace, ran some interference. She brought up some jurisdictional disputes, and the FBI has been delayed. They probably won't arrive on the site until at least Monday at some point. So during that time, from now until the real FBI arrives, you four are going to be heading out there for Operation FULMINATE, where I expect you to locate this child, identify the child, determine whether an unnatural threat is in the area, remove the unnatural threat, and of course, as usual, make the outcome appear mundane. Now, are there any questions before we move on, agents?
So the parents themselves were hysterical, of course. You know, they just recovered their child after 30 years. Do they know that he's not an adult? Or do they know that he's a child?
That is unclear, Agent. From what we've heard is the conversation between this child and the ranger with his parents was rather brief and filled with a lot of hysterical crying, even some laughter. I don't think they fully understand the situation, or maybe fully haven't processed it. I'm sure you understand how some people react to such instances of unnatural occurrences.
Right. Agent Kennedy, my only concern here is if they were to arrive here within the next less than an hour now and see their son 6 years old, would that not be a security breach issue that we'd need to deal with there? How is this child supposed to return to its family? I say it's because we don't know the details of the situation.
Well, that's your job. Figure it out. That's what we're sending you in there to do, you understand? We don't have the answers.
Very well.
And that's why you're going in there to get them.
Well, let's say this I mean, obviously this is unnatural. This man should be a man. So what if that's it? If this child is just a child, how do we cover that up?
Well, we don't have enough information yet. I can't tell you that it's up to you four to assess the threat here. If you believe that the parents can take the child and the child is thoroughly examined and not found to be unnatural, maybe it's possible the child can go back home with his parents. His parents, by the way, are Anne and Ian McGill. But I'm sure they'd be glad to have their child back. And if that is truly their child, that's Brandon McGill and not something else.
Well, if we do
we can keep tabs
right.
on them.
That's of course, we can keep tabs on them. But this man would have to be birthed as a new person. It would be like an adoption. It would have to be it'd have to be off the books. He can't live his life as Brandon McGill, age 30, according to the birth records.
We can handle the paperwork if it comes down to that.
Very well. I'd just like to cover my bases before we get started.
Understood. Any questions from the rest of you? All right. And he takes that manila envelope, slides it across the table. Any of you pick it up?
I do.
All right. You should be able to see this. You see inside a map of the Hetch Hetchy area of Yosemite Park. And Kennedy continues talking. So what you've got there, that's a map of the Hetch Hetchy area. You can see the trailhead station, that's where you're heading to. That road heading up, 48 kilometers or so.
Mhm.
3-hour drive north of here. You'll be there. You'll also see underneath that there's a key. That key is for the SUV in the parking lot. You drive that north of here to the address written on the back of that map. It's a safe house. You'll find the supplies you need there. Now, if there's nothing else,
Great.
I must be going. We'll be in touch. Meet back here Monday.
Very good.
And he looks to the other agents, waiting to see if anyone else speaks up at all.
Yeah, boss. The stream's lagging.
Agent Kennedy was just finishing up the briefing, looking around to see if any of you had any other questions. And if you don't say anything, he's about to stand up and leave.
Get some sleep.
I'd say you do the same, but, well, you know. Enjoy the night at the opera. And he gets up and walks out. He ashes his cigarette on the table first before he leaves.
I get up for a second, and I kind of look over. I leave the notes on the table. I start to head out, but then I turn back and I look at the rest of the group. So at the safe house, we should have some gear, hopefully some equipment to deal with whatever we might come across. But I mean, if it's anything like the last time, we gotta be more prepared. I mean, we're lucky that none of us, and we're lucky that we survived. But God damn it, it took everything we had. So I'm prepared to go down with you, gentlemen, down this, up this highway to hell. But I wouldn't do it with any other. And I look at Killjoy.
So you would look at Killjoy and he would be kind of like somewhat puzzled, but still kind of keeping a stern face, almost as like he's questioning some things, but not trying to let it be seen by the majority of the room.
Hope you're ready to stare hell in the eyes. Say fuck you.
Cute.
Stared hell
Ready
in
to
the
get
eyes more times than you can count.
I like.
Yeah, all right. Thinking that's enough emotions for the evening. Let's get down to business. Anyone hungry? I can look for a Denny's. I'm just kidding. To the safe house.
So another thing that, as you go to fold up that manila folder and take it with you, you notice that there's a URL listed on there as well.
What's the URL called?
It looks encoded. It's just it's basically just a GUID.
Oh, okay.
You actually
We'll have to take a look
you
at this.
recognize it as an FBI personal encrypted like file sharing link.
Oh, I don't. So I just look at that. I don't give a lot of attention to it. I kind of see it. I'm like, oh, I'll check that later, and put the manila folder in my suit or my suitcase. Yeah.
Okay.
Snap it up. Get up, gentlemen. To the SUV. So we head outside. I pop open the trunk, load everybody's, whatever we brought on this trip, and we start heading to Yosemite. How
You
long's
would
the drive?
notice that Killjoy walks to his personal vehicle, pops the trunk, pulls out what looks like an 870 shotgun, shuts the trunk, and throws it in the back of your truck, and shuts the door, doesn't say anything, and hops into the passenger seat.
Yo, you got a permit for that?
As far as you know.
We are in California.
Again, as far as you know.
Well, listen, if I'm driving this vehicle and we get pulled over, it's my responsibility to know.
We get pulled over, that shotgun's the least of your concerns.
Okay, at that point, he's probably in the car, not giving me any more time of day, and I have to accept it. So I get in the driver's seat, start up the car, turn around, see them both probably in the back seat while I'm backing up the vehicle.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
see
actually
Kenrich looking
Let's see.
over at Kingpin like,
Uh-huh.
there's a weird interaction going on up front. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not looking at either of you. I'm like awkwardly staring, just like between you two.
Yeah, and we're awkwardly staring at each other. So that's how
Denny's?
it's going.
Denny's
Why-
was an
why-
icebreaker last time.
why
Right.
is there slow jazz music playing right now, Kingpin?
So, yeah, so we hit the road, heading straight for Yosemite. Looking at traffic patterns, keeping track of time.
Well, don't forget about the safe house you mentioned too, if you wanted to stop there.
Sorry, we're gonna stop at the safe house first.
Okay. So that address was written on the back of the map, and it's actually very close. It's maybe 5 minutes down the road from this office building. And
Yep.
the actual SUV you're in, it's a bit of a step down from some of the nicer vehicles you're used to driving from the FBI. It's an older Chevy Blazer. It's got tinted windows and an extended cab so that you can, have some seats in the back for all of you to fit in it. But it's got, as you're driving,
Beautiful.
you notice there that there is a garage door opener attached to. Wow, I just blanked out. What's the foldy thing?
The sun visor.
There you go. It's attached to that. There's a garage door opener, and you pull that down a little bit, and you can see that there's a key that falls out of there too.
Ding.
Another key.
Okay.
So you pull up to the safe house. It's just a rather normal looking area, suburban area. There's a whole bunch of other houses in the neighborhood, and this one is actually it looks as well maintained as the other ones. How do you pull into the garage, or what are you doing?
So I back into the garage if I can. I want to get the trunk ass out first, so I can just pull straight out. So I reel it around, pop open the trunk or the garage, and just back straight in. The whole time I'm like, you ever drive a Blazer before? This thing shakes like crazy. And I pull all the way in, park. Well, let's see what we got, boys.
All right. So yeah, that garage door opener opens that garage, of course. You're able to back in there, and I assume you probably close the door behind you once you're in.
Yeah.
Pile out of the car, and this is appears to be just a ranch-style house. It's immediately obvious that in the back corner of this garage, behind a tool bench that's there's some tools and things in the garage, but behind this tool bench, it's rather obvious if you just happen to look behind it, there's a large metal hatch set into the concrete floor.
Somebody, I assume this is it's on top of the little workshop thing, like a little bit, or like is like this toolbox thing in the way, like we have to move the toolbox and then open the hatch.
No, it's just open.
Okay.
It's there. The hatch is closed. but it's just out, readily available. You can see it, and there's a rather beefy looking padlock on it as well.
So I hold up the key, I look at the padlock, I unlock it, clank clank, lower the padlock down, we lift open the hatch.
All right, and it works. Padlock snaps off of there, and you're able to open that hatch. It's a very heavy door. It's very thick. It seems reminiscent of a bomb shelter, essentially, and there's a very narrow, steep set of stairs going down.
Okay, watch your step. I'm just going down first.
Okay. There's a rather dark room down there, but there's a light at the bottom that you flick on. It's about the same size as the garage above you. All concrete room. There's some steel plating on the walls. Very secure looking room, and there's just lots of supplies in here. There's steel cabinets. There's gun cabinets in here. There's some Kevlar vest hanging on hooks and everything. Basically everything you requested before this session, you can find in there, along with any other things that you might find to head into the national parks.
So you would notice that Killjoy, as soon as you walk down into this room, he would immediately, first thing, be walking to various doors, peeking in, looking, go to the next room, peeking and looking, next room, peeking and looking. And once he realizes that everything is clear, then he comes back and seems to kind of drop his shoulders a little bit, but he doesn't say anything.
Okay. And do you examine the actual, the house itself, or just go straight down into this hatch?
Mhm.
Yeah, I would be straight down into the hatch behind Agent Crypt.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
So he's doing that. He probably look all paranoid as shit.
Yeah.
To me, that's just how I think. I don't say anything. I don't make it awkward. But I come down there. I'm like, what the hell are this guy doing? Like a first time moment. So gentlemen, we have here. I know we have a GPS jammer. We have a couple of voice activated recorders. We have some bug detectors down here. Looks like a GPS tracking device, a fire extinguisher, some night vision goggles, holographic sight, hiking equipment, as well as some camouflage hiking gear. Kevlar vests, a couple of Colt M19s. We have a shotgun, a couple of C4 plastic explosives. So who's taking what? I have at least a handgun for each of you.
And there's also plenty of backpacks, duffel bags, those sort of things down there to pack this gear up if you don't want to be just carrying it in your pockets.
Yeah, I'd say Agent
let's
Kenrich
get
would
changed.
already be suiting up into
Yeah.
hiking gear and getting everything ready.
Yeah, wear that Kevlar vest underneath. That'll fit you nice and tight, but it'll protect your life.
So you would have seen Killjoy. He would have picked up one of those Kevlar vests, and he would also grabbed one of those medium pistols and kind of a holster maybe to match to go underneath his suit if you have it.
All right. Sounds good. So is Agent Kenrich the only one that's really changing his outfit?
Oh, I am. Yeah, I'm not. So this
Okay.
everything that I have on now is switching to hiking gear with boots, but I have my FBI badge and I have a jacket on that says FBI,
Okay.
like a bright yellow.
You would see Killjoy just kind of like looking around, seeing what the other agents are doing, and kind of matching. So like if Crypt and Kenrich and Kingpin are all like putting on hiking boots, he's like, oh yeah, sure, I would be doing that as well, you know, because he doesn't know exactly what's going on, so he's just kind of following suit.
Okay.
Nah, I'll bring some. I'm boxing some hiking gear and that vest up, but I need to get a look at the lay of the land first. I'm not looking like a square like these dweebs. I'm gonna keep it slick.
All right. So you guys got the floor here. I mean, if you want to give any more details about what
Okay.
you're doing here, or you just head out to the park, up to you.
So as Killjoy is kind of suiting up, he looks over at Kingpin. He says, "Man who's not dressed for the ball will drink punch while they dance."
Brother, I do this shit for a living. If it's not sheer rock out there, I think I'll be fine.
I got you. I understand.
At least put some boots on.
What time of day is it right now?
Hey, Dad.
It's early morning, 5:30, about 5:45, probably 5:40 now that we got here to the safe house.
Yeah, getting close to 6 a.m.
6:30 is arrival time for them. It's Saturday morning, or excuse me, Sunday morning.
Yep.
We have until Monday. FBI arriving shortly after us. So my FBI jacket is, I have my backpack around where it says FBI, but it's still the same like yellow color, or like navy blue with the yellow insides.
Mhm.
I don't want to tell them I'm FBI, because I don't want FBI showing up like, oh, we already talked to you. So, but, you know, if I do get caught, we'll talk about it later. But anyway,
Do I see a flashlight anywhere nearby?
Yeah, plenty of flashlights,
Yeah.
lanterns.
Okay. So I'm gonna take a
Attachment for the
flashlight
pistol?
with me,
Sure.
just in case if we happen to like go into any caves or it gets really dark.
well,
while
yeah,
we're
bring a
out,
bigger
so-
flashlight. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'll do a handgun flashlight, and you know, everyone else can do whatever you want, but I'm gonna do that, and a laser sight.
Okay.
And yeah,
I suppose I'd snag those night vision goggles just so if I need to use my drone out there, I can see.
Oh, GPS tracking device. I'm bringing that so that if we need to track anyone, I'm taking it with me.
All right.
And night vision. You said you're grabbing the night vision, penguin, penguin, Kingpin.
Penguin?
Sorry, I've been watching too much Batman. 2000, baby. Hey, I watch movies.
You would kind of see also as like everybody's kind of packing up. Killjoy would kind of look over and kind of scan the room, and he would also snag probably 2 or 3 grenades and put them in his pack as well.
Okay. It works. All right. What's next?
All right, gentlemen. Let's get these this equipment packed up. Well, I guess we can come back to this throughout the night. I know I do have a motel that we can stay at nearby. Should have a couple beds each. Might have to pair up. But other than that, I guess we're heading to Yosemite. Let's talk to the boy before the parents do.
Perfectly good safe house right here. Why do we need do we need to be pampered? I mean,
I said
do you
it's
need
a
a feet
motel,
rub to go with
Henrich.
your
Listen, our guns are here. Our equipment's here. I don't want to be seen here. All right. I don't know what they do here. I don't know how many operations they run out of here. Motel is safe and secure. All right.
All right.
That's a motel, for God's sakes, Kenrich. What do you think I am?
Just saying. Seems like you can't rough it out here in the wilderness.
I'll show you. I grew up in a rural area.
Kenrich is not convinced by this statement at all whatsoever. Kenrich is like,
as all this is going on, Killjoy takes his big duffel bag, he throws it in the back of that blazer, and he says, "Ask him what pinching a tent means. I bet he won't tell you the difference." I'll stay anywhere you want as long as it's nowhere near a Denny's.
Oh my God, that's the most you've talked today. I think to us. You're opening up. So guess I'm gonna get in the driver's seat, and then I'll turn on the car. I throw on some I don't know, Britney Spears.
You throw on some Jefferson Airplane?
No, I play in Hot in Here, Nelly. Popular hit of
Did you just Google? Yes.
Popular hit of 2000.
Yeah. All right. So I'm assuming everyone else piles in, and it's off to the Hetch area of Yosemite.
It would have actually been Bye 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 by NSYNC, just so you know.
Yeah, or Air Force One.
Number 1 would have been Bye 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 by NSYNC.
Kenrich is just plugging in his headphones to his laptop to while he's doing some at-home work while they're on their way to wherever, and trying to drown out the sound of early 2000s, late 1900s pop music.
Clock by Coldplay comes on.
Have fun with your space computer, spaceman.
I forgot to mention there was a computer down in that safe room as well. If there was anything you wanted to use that for, by the way, before we left.
Oh my God! Don't tell me this now. Just kidding. It was good of you. Thank you.
All right. But if not, we're off to Yosemite.
I think I had something. I'm looking at it.
You can do an intelligence check.
I want to get some credentials, some law enforcement credentials of the local law enforcement. Using the computer to access my personnel files in the FBI, and essentially give myself jurisdiction in this specific county.
Okay. It's definitely going to take a roll to do that.
What do you mean?
Computer science.
Let's see. We'll go with bureaucracy, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Damn it.
Nope. You hit some sort of wall in the process, and you realize that whatever request you were trying to expedite and push through and not even have anyone take a look at it is now stuck in some sort of process pipeline, and it's not working.
Yeah, delete. Cancel. Fuck. Well, I was hoping for something, but looks like the local law enforcement have some pretty good cybersecurity software. I'm not able to breach it, so
You would think, right?
Surprises me for you.
I guess it is California.
Go ahead and do an intelligence check, though, Agent Crypt, while you're on that computer. Success. You just remember the URL that was on the included Manila package.
Oh, I could kiss you. Okay, so instead I pull up I do that URL.
All right. So that appears to be a secure file sharing drop from Agent Jace, who Agent Kennedy had mentioned. So I'm just going to. There's a handout I have here.
Doug's like, don't let me waste my handout because you forgot.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. So you should be able to see that. I'll go ahead and just read this out loud for our audience and all the players, but it's there available if you need to look back on it. So there's a couple things in here, mostly about the McGills themselves, and then some park ranger reports. But on the McGills, there's some notes saying that Brandon F. McGill disappeared from the Hetch area in Yosemite near a natural landmark called the Devil's Chair on June 22nd, 1980, while on vacation with his parents. This Devil's Chair is a natural stone structure of shattered columnar, I can't say that word, columnar basalt, and it happens to have cracked in a way that it looks like a vague seat. It's a popular tourist attraction. McGill's parents, Ian and Ann, ages 27 and 26 at the time, claim that the child was right there with them when he vanished around 4:30 p.m. The FBI became involved after two eyewitnesses claimed to have seen a man in black clothing following McGill's on the trail. One described the man as tall and pale, while the other only said it was a figure in all black. There were multiple large-scale searches with personnel and helicopters that found nothing. Brandon McGill was declared dead in 1987. Ian McGill was briefly investigated due to a domestic violence charge in 1979 also, and that had to do with an infidelity, and when the couple reconciled and dropped all these charges, and that is just 1 year before Brandon's disappearance. As for the park ranger reports, there seem to have been 24 children that have vanished in Yosemite over the past 40 years. The report of a long-retired park ranger named Walter DeLio mentions some other oddities, such as bad weather that follows disappearances. Dogs find no scent of McGill, which that partly led to the rangers to conclude the boy would not be found. When lost children are found, it seems to be miles from where they were lost, and those that are recovered have high temperatures and are withdrawn and disoriented. Disappearances almost always occur in late afternoon or early dusk and tend to be in areas overgrown with huckleberries, just like the Devil's Chair area is.
This sounds an awful lot like alien abductions. I just kind of say out loud, probably reading the computer with you being my voice.
Alien abductions.
Yeah, you read about those or hear about those? They talk about a lot
Yeah.
of crop circles.
On the movies and stuff. No, I've never seen any like live video or anything.
Well, I don't believe in this stuff, but there's just this report reads like it, and I mean, if we're out here by you know who that got us out here, I mean, what if aliens are real? Or some kind of, I mean, this is some kind of tall, pale creature.
All right, boys.
I mean,
in the briefing, he said something unnatural. I'm going to know what unnatural means. You got me talking about aliens. You got me talking about crop circles and shit.
All right.
I need to know what unnatural means. Full disclosure.
Killjoy. Our last mission, we found a wife of a man that had been with Delta Green. This wife was presumed dead and had been living in the sewer, well, the septic tank, for years. I mean, this woman was old and decrepit, but wasn't. I mean, she was almost immortal by the a mythical standard. She would regrow wounds. She She was strong as an ox. I mean, Kenrich knows she hits like a truck. And the speed on her, Kay and Kenrich chased him down in the woods, and we lost track of him. I mean, it moved like a deer or like an animal.
So are we talking witches, some sort of like religious stuff, some occult stuff? Are we talking witch doctors?
Maybe occult,
what are we
but
talking about here?
It ends there, really. I mean, we put a stop to the creature. There was some occult shit. I mean, you get. I mean, agents. I mean, if I'm missing details,
Nah, Bub, that's about it. I mean, she was like something out of an X-Men comic.
Yeah.
You know?
Some kind of like I don't know. I was getting a lot of tribal vibes, tribal rituals from the research that we picked up. But no, if it's anything like that, I mean, who knows what kind of thing waits in store for us? And
Listen, I've done my fair share of staring down the eyes of hell. But this, if you're talking about werewolves and witches and ghosts and shit, I don't know about it. I need to know what
I
I'm
didn't
dealing
say
with
any
here.
of that, man. Those are stories, right? But this is real life. All right.
All right. I need every one of you to know something right off the bat, though. I got your back, no matter what. But full disclosure, I need to know what's going on here.
Hey, you know as much as we do, buddy.
All right.
To this point.
As long as you don't leave me in the dark, I got you.
Agent Killjoy, why were you recruited in the first place? What did they say got you started with this organization?
Yeah, everybody has their end, man.
I was processing out of a previous entanglement. Listen, if we're going into the fray, you need to know. I was a career Marine. Been in the Marines 25 years. But I've never seen anything quite like what you're talking about here. I told them I wanted out. They told me my skills were too great to waste. They sent me over here talking about some kind of special assignment stuff. I figured it was some kind of Ranger Battalion stuff. I don't know. I mean, I'm here for it. I'm not scared of nothing. I just need to know what's going on.
Same to you. You come in here acting like you want transparency, yet you're leaving out a key detail.
What you got?
Well, each one of us had an encounter with the unnatural. Something must have happened.
You see Killjoy kind of step back for a minute, and it's almost like he's kind of thinking, and he has this moment of realization, and he speaks up and he says, "We were in the Ramadi. Kicked the door in just like we always do. I'm a breacher, that's why I got the shotgun. Kick a door in, first man in, scan the room. Little kids, man. I don't do little kids. Scan the room, push them out of the way, immediately push into the next room. Guy standing there, full circle, don't know what's going on. I scream, 'Hands up, hands up!' He doesn't do anything. He's murmuring. He says all this stuff that I'm not even picking up, bro. I'm like, if you don't put your hands up, I'm gonna blast you right here. He doesn't even acknowledge my existence. The moment that he finishes his words, I go to reach over to hit him with some zip ties. He screams loud. I mean loud. Lightning flashes the room. Next thing I know, I'm looking at a demon, bro. Some kind of werewolf thing. I don't know. He turned into some sort of werewolf. I don't know. I can't make heads or tails of it. But as soon as he did, I let that 870 go. He was just laying there. I don't know. They told me at first that I was some kind of PTSD thing, man. But I know what I saw.
Well, you're here, so that means it was an encounter with the natural. Whether or not I objectively believe shit, I can't depend on my objective knowledge for this. This isn't.
Listen,
it's unnatural.
I spent years trying to figure out. I distanced myself from Sergeant. I distanced myself from my sister. I distanced myself from the unit. I don't know. I don't know what it means, man. All I know is that they sent me here, said it would help me. I thought it was going to be some kind of like med, kick me out, DD 214, send me out to some kind of therapist. Now I'm here. Now I'm realizing that maybe I seen some stuff and they think that maybe I handled. I don't know. But regardless, I need you to know something. Full transparency. I'm here for a reason, and I'm here for you. But if there's something beyond this life, if there's something temporal or supernatural, I'm okay with it. I just need to know what is out there, so I'm not surprised by it.
How do you define the undefinable?
I can only
You
believe
stare
what
into
I
the
can
void
see.
and it looks back.
That's right.
Lovecraft, you might have heard of him.
That's right. This speaks
This
back
is
to you.
unnatural. So, listen, we're all on the same team. Let's get on the road here. We've spent a lot of time reminiscing. Do we see each other now? Are we clear? What our objective is? What our goal is? We don't know what the fuck we're about to encounter, but it's something big, and it's something unnatural. So do what you have to do. Make peace with that.
I'm here for y'all. I'll be here till the end.
Door slam. Car turns on. Insert montage of driving and.
To be fully transparent, though, my mom always told me not to trust three things: the government, a redheaded girl named Tiffany, and a 2001 Blazer. Just so you know.
What the fuck? Oh no! We're one of those three.
All right, so you leave the
I
safe
agree.
house.
This fuel pump's about to go up.
I'm assuming the bed of the Blazer is now filled up with duffel bags and backpacks and all the supplies you grab. You start heading north towards Yosemite. Fresno fades around you, and it's replaced by the mountains, the forest, desert areas, and do I have a nice that was so sudden.
Oh wow. We're not in the city anymore.
Yeah, absolutely not. You're driving up into Yosemite at this point. There's it's very hot and dry through here in California. There's many varieties of trees you're seeing all over the place and along the sides of the road. You've got your California black oak, ponderosa pine. There's cedar, white fir,
wow.
The occasional giant sequoia. Lots of area that's exposed rock faces and dirt, scrub grasses, which seem very desert-like. Yes. Hand raised.
I do want to add.
Yes.
I want to add something with. I roll down my windows at this point. We probably have the AC cranked the whole time. I roll down the windows and I turn off the AC, and I just put my arm out kind of rigidly. I look back at Kenrich and I'm like, take a deep breath. I'm like, did you just love that Californian forest air? Really feels like we're out here in nature.
Taking some inspiration from Agent Cooper. You watch Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks? Yeah.
So you continue, and it's absolutely beautiful. The air is just refreshing out here. There's small bushes that cluster next to all of these trees, also, and lots of various berries and things. And these large open areas with these low shrubs, screened by some larger windbreak providing trees. But one thing, all of you having some experience in one way or another with some combat and things like that, and in certain tactical situations, you know that it would be rather hard to pick out human silhouettes at a distance here if you were searching for someone. So that's probably running through your mind about how the search went on for Brandon or these people that were stalking after them, supposedly. But the sky is
so
clear.
It's hard to see it. It's very thick, is what you're saying. It's very dense.
Yeah, it's some of these trees and things that stand out.
Right.
With between that large areas of just open, nearly desert-like. But
I see.
You're pulling up towards the mountain, heading down this one road that's going towards the ranger station. Completely clear sky, not a cloud in sight. And you're maybe 15 minutes out from the station when suddenly you drive into a literal wall of rain. Just pouring down rain. Your arm becomes absolutely soaked in just the moment you drive into that rain. There's thunder and lightning all over the place. It's absolutely terrible. Your vision is very poor now. You can only see, maybe a few meters or whatever in front of your car, and you continue down the road.
So they're probably actually hand crank windows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably like, and then you just start spinning as quickly as possible as downpour starts. I throw back on the AC.
Roll it up, motherfucker. This shit's dry clean only.
Too much nature for me. Ugh.
So you continue driving, and eventually you come across the station itself. It's a sprawling 2-story brown structure. It's obviously been built and rebuilt over time. There's reinforced snow roofs and a large freestanding radio tower. Parked outside of it are 2 Jeeps, and also under a small covered area there are 3 quad runners there. Not too far away from this large open area where the station is, there's a lot of campers that you see set up, campground area for just the backpacker campers that have been going up and around the trails in the area. And you can see most of them are starting to pack up now. You see a couple actually heading towards the ranger station. 1 or 2 have a vehicle themselves that are starting to pull out. It looks like this rain is just getting worse and worse, and all of the campers around here are starting to head for shelter or leave. So what do you do?
Damn it. This isn't gonna let up. Fucking Kingpin reaches behind him in the back area of the Blazer into his box and grabs his hiking equipment and just kind of starts stripping, putting on his boots and stuff. None of this can get wet. Ugh.
I told you.
I didn't think it was gonna rain. I didn't hear the weather report.
Well, if
Again.
Crip really was a wilderness man, he would have smelled the rain coming from miles away.
Oh, is that what that smell was?
Those who drink the punch during the dance are not going to miss out.
Oh my gosh.
Also, we got a bonus die in the chat, by the way.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, I'm looking at it here. Bad weather follows disappearances, right? This was really sudden. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if... unless another disappearance just happened up here.
That's a little far-fetched, don't you think?
I mean, yeah, but it's worth keeping in mind when we approach the situation.
I suppose.
It's speculative. We'll see.
So
What's
the drive
move, Crip?
took you about 3 hours, by the way. It's around 9 a.m. now.
Oh, shit. So when the plane landed for them, I would have probably gotten a beep on my alarm that I set on my watch, and so they arrived. It's going to take them X amount of time now to get here. So we're about an hour still ahead of schedule, depending on even when they actually get off, when they actually get a ride, and how long it takes to get here.
Yeah.
So I'd say about an hour. Are we at the trailhead camp, or are we at?
Yeah, you just pulled up to the station at the ranger station itself, at the trailhead. And
Okay.
actually, as you're talking and Kingpin stripping and putting on some different clothing, the pop music you had playing on the radio kind of a little bit quietly in the background at this point cuts off, and an emergency broadcast comes over the radio, alerting everyone of severe weather warnings and sightings of water spouts over the Hetch Hetchy Reservoir. And there's some further talks of road closures in the Yosemite National Parks.
So would we have
Might get
had
rained in here.
would we have had the map that you showed us in person?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you brought that
So
with
the
you.
Yosemite map.
So we would know that the trailhead station is probably maybe 5 kilometers from the Devil's Chair itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's right
as-
trailhead right now. Yeah.
Yeah, so as he kind of as Killjoy kind of hops out, he would have looked at the map one last time and just kind of thrown it on the dash, and
Yep.
he would have been kind of grabbing his gear and been like, "Hey, we're pretty close, boys. We could make it up there in time if you want to go.
No, let's head to the trailhead station first. That's where the kid is.
Fair enough.
Now, when we get in there, just follow my lead.
Understand.
And are any of you carrying guns with you? Like, I'm assuming everyone's got a pistol hidden on them somewhere, but is anyone carrying like long guns?
Right. No. Killjoy
Shotgun.
would have had the medium pistol holstered in his jacket, but he left his shotgun in the Blazer.
Yep.
All right, Kingpin,
Cool.
Kenrich. What about you two?
Just my pistol and a couple mags.
Okay.
I've got the one pistol that we found down in the safe house, and I still have the one pistol that Crypt tossed me from the last mission. I kept that close to me, so.
Okay. Sounds good. So you're able to walk. Yeah, it sounds like you're heading into the station there. The front of it, there's a raised patio that you walk up onto, and there's a front door there. I'm assuming you're probably hunched over, like running through the rain. There were probably umbrellas in the safe house if you wanted to bring those with you.
Probably was.
But the front door is open. You follow through. There was someone. It looks like it's probably a camper that was nearby. Walks up ahead of you, opens the door, heads in. You come through a few seconds later, and you're all standing in kind of an entrance area to the station. You can see there's a door to your left that says Rangers Only. There's a open set of double doors to your right that seems to lead into a common room. There's a door straight back, and next to that, a set of stairs going up. But there's no one in this entranceway right now at the moment, but you just see people walking around in the common room to your right.
Yep. So I see the Rangers Only. Is there a window on the door? Can I peeking in a little bit?
Yeah.
Before I head
there's
all
a
the way in?
window on the door. You can peek in. You see there's a very short hallway, and then at the end of that, there's a rather large room with looks like radio equipment and just other things that the Rangers would use to do their daily job around here.
Okay.
Probably tables, maps all
Sounds
over
good.
the walls, you know.
All right. So then I'll peek inside, look back to the entrance, and just head inside.
Okay. Into the common area, or where are you going?
Yeah, the common area.
Okay. In the common area, you see that there's just a few people kind of walking back and forth in here. Some people sitting down. There's a few tables in here, some couches, those sort of things, and there's a fireplace against the opposite wall. There's another set of double doors on the other side that are closed. All of these people that are in here are absolutely soaking wet. It looks like they must have just came in from the rain. Some of them have like large backpacks and supplies laying around, so it's pretty clear that these are all campers that just rushed inside. But you do see one ranger standing to your right, looking out the large front window, just out into the rain.
Looking around, are there any cameras?
No.
Were there any cameras at the entranceway?
No.
Okay. I approach him. Ranger, sorry for the intrusion. And I kind of see if he responds to me, because he's just kind of staring, right? So.
It's her, actually.
Oh, her.
Yeah, she turns, and you can see her little ranger name tag says Galagos on it. She turns and says, "I'm sorry. Can you say that again? What was that?"
Hi, ma'am. I'm.
Hello.
My name is Agent Crypt. I am here with our classified department here, investigating the child that you received. Who's in charge around the station so that I can talk to
She
and get to know what's going on?
looks over. I'm assuming everyone's standing there. Looks over you for.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Can I see some ID? Who are you exactly?
Like I said, that's classified, ma'am. But we know about the situation, and you can trust that is credentials enough. Please escort us to your station master or the head park ranger so we can continue our investigation.
Give me a I have to check the skills again because we haven't played it
Persuade?
so long. I believe it's Persuade.
Yeah.
Yes, Persuade. Yep.
Okay. So we got a bonus die.
Oh, okay.
What were we gonna say?
Go, if you want to use that, then you can do a plus 20.
Okay. With the bonus die or without the bonus die?
With the bonus die.
Oh, fuck. Wow. Cool. I'll roll it again for bonus die. Well, cool.
All right. So she's got a bit of a confused but also serious and stern look on her face. Okay. Yeah. I'll take you to him. He's upstairs with my supervisor. That's Ranger Kina. I'm sorry. I'm Tamika Gallegos, by the way. Just follow me.
Tamika.
He's in the upstairs common
Right.
area.
Sorry for the secrecy. I trust that you understand.
I suppose it's just kind of distracted by the sudden strange weather here. Follow me though, and she cuts through all of you and heads back out the door you came in and up the stairs that you saw earlier. If you follow her, you can see that the upstairs is almost entirely a large common area, and off to the side there's just one single door up here. And up in this common area, you see a few other rangers. The one that she mentioned, Ranger Douglas Kina, is actually sitting next to a child there that's covered in a blanket. And this child is wearing rather ill-fitting clothing. It looks like something that was just probably laying around and they gave to him. So Ranger Gallegos walks up to them all standing there and says, Kina, this is the FBI. They didn't think they were going to get here so quickly, but I thought you said the FBI.
I said a classified department of the government.
Well, that's what she would say anyways.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool.
Because they had contacted the FBI as you were told, so she's just assuming FBI.
Makes sense.
These, I think these are those FBI people. I didn't really expect them to show up so quick, but anyways, as I said, this is Ranger Kina. I gotta get back to it, and then she starts wandering away, and she still seems just has an air of confusion about her and deep thought. So Ranger Kina stands. He was kneeling over next to this child and kind of consoling him. He stands, kind of fixes his belt a little bit, holds out his hand to shake each one of you, and says, Ranger Kina, I'm the supervisor here at the station. It's nice to meet you all. I'm assuming you're the agents dispatched from the FBI on this missing persons case.
Think of us as the preliminary team. Yes, a full response team will be approaching approximately by Monday. They ran into some jurisdictional issues.
Okay, all right. Well, this here is Brandon. Hi,
Brandon.
Why don't we step away from him a bit? Discuss this privately.
Yeah.
And any other players want to jump in at any point, feel free to interrupt any of the conversation. Yeah, I don't want to railroad anything.
The only thing I was going to say is I would be studying Miss Gallegos there and seeing if she's hiding something from us, like where she's just trying to keep something a secret that she doesn't want us to know.
Give me a human int roll.
In the meantime, Killjoy would be kind of like watching everybody come in and file in. He would actually be kind of watching the door and seeing the room as well as peeking outside to see whatever happens. He kind of maintains a post, so to speak.
Okay, yeah. I'll keep that in mind then. What's Kingpin doing meanwhile?
So, I think Kingpin would have held back at first and tried to go into that radio room.
Oh, cool.
Okay, yeah, if you want to try and do that and you're trying to be kind of stealthy, go ahead and give me a stealth check for that.
Not necessarily trying to be stealthy. I mean, I'm not trying to like stomp, but I'm just gonna casually walk in.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're able to do that just fine. We'll get back to you. Is there anything specific you're looking for, though?
The frequencies that they use to communicate.
All right. Yeah, you're able to grab that with no issue. So I'll assume you're down there looking through their station and stuff. Surprisingly, there's no rangers in that room at the moment. So Agent Crypt, you step aside from Brandon with Ranger Kina.
Ranger, I see Mr. well, Brandon McGill seems healthy.
Yeah.
A little
I'm
young,
assuming
perhaps.
You were briefed on the situation. Exactly.
Absolutely.
From what I hear, he went missing about 20 years ago.
Strange, isn't it? Shouldn't this child be a man by now?
Yeah, if that's him,
That's what
I
we're here.
mean,
That's why we're here.
that's why
Figure
you're
out what's
here.
going on.
All right. Well, I hope we can close the case then, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. And you know, I didn't tell all the rangers yet. Only a couple of them know about the missing persons case being back in the 80s.
The less that know, the better. I'll
Sure.
say that.
All right, that makes sense.
Now, the information so far that we've gathered, it sounds like Ian and Ann are on their way to visit or pick up their son, the McGill's parents.
Yeah, I think they had they went out and got some tickets right away to fly out here, from what I hear.
Okay. Now these eyewitnesses that came to the station. Who are they? What is some contact information we might have? Are they in the park here still?
And who exactly are you talking about now?
The two eyewitnesses.
The eyewitnesses.
Yeah, regarding the man in black clothing following the McGills on the trails.
Is that from the original case? Yeah, I mean that was before my time a bit.
Oh, that's from the original case. Forgive me. I scratched it off in my notebook. Let's see. What do you know of the park ranger Walter Delio? I'm mispronouncing the name, I'm sure.
Walter Delio.
Yeah, he's a long retired park ranger.
Definitely heard the name before. I've seen his name, signed on some equipment here he must have been using long ago. He's been retired for quite a while, from what I understand. I've never met the man.
Okay. Do you have his personnel file? Perhaps we could get some information on him. Perhaps from recent contact information, if you've got it.
I'll try and pull something up. Probably downstairs in our radio room. We might have something in some file cabinets there.
Sure. And finally, it seems that there's a lot of missing children's cases up here. Is there anything that these people that have lost these children, any details you can provide? Any similarities? And if not, the contact information of these individuals.
Yeah, I mean, the only similarities I know of is that people like to go off trails. We're always trying to advise them against it. People get lost easily.
Off trails. Of course, it's a dangerous area. But that doesn't explain Brandon here. So, last but not least, this devil's chair, or stone structure out here. Nice little seat. Popular tourist attraction.
Yeah.
Anything dangerous in the nearby area? Cause people to go off trail.
Dangerous. I mean, there's some mountainous areas here and there. There's lots of
Sure.
boulders and things.
Wildlife?
Wildlife? Well, yeah, we got bears out here.
Okay.
Although they leave a trace. If someone gets taken by a bear.
Very well. right, thank you. You've been a huge help, Park Ranger. What was your name again?
Keena, Douglas Keena.
Keena. Thank you, Mr. Keena. You're a great help. We're going to be on the field here for performance and reconnaissance, seeing what we can find. But we're going to talk to Brandon here before his parents show up.
I'm sorry, Agent. I just realized my ranger that introduced you to me. I didn't get a name.
My name is Agent Crypt.
Agent Crypt. All right. Well, nice to meet you. And what else can I help you with here?
Besides that, perhaps some umbrellas.
Sure. Yeah. Check the supply closet downstairs next to the stairs.
Would appreciate that. Thank you. But if we need anything else, I'll be sure to let you know.
All right.
Just let your rangers know that we're here and we're operating, to not interfere if we're out in the field.
Understood.
Thank you. I'm going to speak to Brandon now.
Okay. So Keena follows you back over to Brandon as you walk over there, but Killjoy and Kenrich, I'm assuming you're probably standing pretty nearby. Killjoy, it sounds like you were probably at the steps kind of watching people come and go.
Yeah, I would kind of be in a place to be able to stand guard as well as listen into whatever conversation is going on.
Okay, yeah, you can do that. And you can see that there's been a few more backpackers, campers that are starting to gather in the common rooms of this station, seeking shelter from the rain.
I would just kind of relate that to everybody, just out of nowhere, just be like, hey, it's populating up in here, just so you know. Not
Roger
being
that.
privy to whatever normal operations is.
It's
Roger
not
that.
super.
It
It's
is
not
raining.
super crowded in here, but there's definitely more bodies coming in. Downstairs in that radio room, Kingpin, you're snooping around, and you're able to find a list of any sort of radio frequencies they might be using around here, but nothing else really stands out to you as immediately useful. But was there anything else you wanted to look for at the moment?
No, that's really all I needed.
All right. You do find that there's an infrared detector that you find. It's looks like it's got a stamp on it, built in 1990. If you happen to want to grab that, that was an equipment drop from Dionysus.
Oh, neat. Yeah, I'll plop that in my backpack.
Okay. So back in the other common room, Agent Crypt is beginning to talk to Brandon. Sounds like.
That's right.
Rain
Hey, Brandon.
continues outside, but I'm going to play some music for us here. He looks up to you. He's got this, like I said, this blanket wrapped around him, and he's kind of trying to keep warm in that with these really loose, badly fitting clothing that he's wearing. He's kind of dirty looking. It looks like they've been trying to clean him up a bit, but he's got like smudges of dirt here and there. You can tell that where it wasn't fully cleaned up. And he just looks up at you. He doesn't really say anything.
I'm gonna get on his level to some extent, sit on a chair or squat if I have to. Hey, Brandon. So, actually, I'm going to say, Mr. McGill. My name is Agent Crypt. Can you talk?
Agent Crypt? I don't have a good child voice, by the way, so bear with me.
It's cute.
Agent Crypt, I'm Brandon.
You can call me Greg. Well, Brandon, what happened when these rangers picked you up? Where were you?
Well,
You
I
know?
was just out there in the woods. I was just walking around, and they found me.
Mm-hmm. And right, what were you doing before they found you in those woods? Do you remember? Any details you can piece together? Any images in your mind, Brandon?
They were caves.
Where'd you come from? Okay.
Caves. They were blue. Blue caves.
Blue caves. What color of blue? Like the sky or like the water?
We're like water.
Or like water. Okay, you're doing great so far. What were in those caves, Brandon?
I don't know if I want to talk about what was in the caves.
Yeah, I can understand if it makes you scared or uncomfortable, Brandon, but well, son, I need you to tell me what were in those caves, because we can't let other little Brandons or any other person get lost in those caves. And right now, son, I'm gonna need you to be strong. So as much as it makes you uncomfortable, what were in those caves?
All right, and because of your persuasion skill, you don't need to roll. He's kind of like looking around at the ground, you know, fumbling with the maybe the trim on the blanket. He looks very anxious. And he finally makes eye contact with you again and says, they were strangers in the caves with me. They were really, really weird, strange men. They would speak without any voices. And they were tall, really tall. I've never seen anyone that tall before. Taller than any other grown-up.
And what did these weird tall men say to you without speaking?
I don't know. I don't remember. They gave me food. It was just gray goop.
Great. So you were fed. Did they touch you, Brandon?
I don't remember what they did. There were other children.
Now, do you know how many? 1, 2, 5 or more?
I don't remember. I
It's okay.
remember Evelyn and Thomas.
Evelyn and Thomas.
I don't know how
Were
many
they friends?
there were. They were brother and sister.
Okay. And while you were in these caves, did anybody new show up ever?
Maybe. I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay. Do you remember how you got into the caves?
No, I was just there.
Do you remember the berries? The red bushes of berries.
That's where they found me today. Yesterday.
Okay. Now, Brandon, your mom and dad are very excited to see you. I haven't told you that yet, but they are on the way to see you. They should be here within the hour.
I
So-
can't wait to see them.
Of course, and you will soon enough. But, Brandon, I'm gonna thank you for this information. You could help save several of those children in those caves, because those men were bad men, and we don't know what they were doing, but we know that they're taking children like you. So I want to thank you for being strong, and when your parents arrive, we'll tell them they should be very proud of you.
He just gives a
And
little
I-
smile and looks excited now.
Okay. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna open the door. Ranger. I almost said Ranger Rick. Ranger. Kina. You can attend to Brandon for now. Do let me know. I have an alarm set, but if for whatever reason his parents are alive early, have someone sent for me. We'll be out near the Devil's Chair area.
All right.
Where are you covered
did you happen to bring a doctor with you or anything? We don't. I mean, we looked them over the best we could, but we don't have a doctor out here.
A doctor. Doctor. One moment here. Let me meet with my team. We might have somebody with the capabilities. So,
Hearing that, Killjoy would speak up and he would say, I'm trained in decent first aid. What do you need?
Well, I think he just needs a good once-over from someone who knows something. I mean,
I can try my best.
I can, set a splint and some basic things like that, but I don't know what I'm looking for. This kid.
I give him a look over, Killjoy. Oh, wow, that's a hell of a look over.
Unfortunately, I need you to do either a medicine check or a search check when you're doing this.
Say medicine or search?
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
Okay. So you approach Brandon. He appears a little bit nervous around you, but there's been enough people that seem to be really caring for him in the area, so he lets you look him over.
So as I would pull my keys out, on my keys there's a small little teddy bear trinket. I would take it loose and I'd say, "Hey buddy, hey, take this for me." And I would dangle it in front of him and I'd say, and I'd raise it up, and as he looks up, I would be looking to see how his eyes react. And as I'd like, "Can you grab it for me?" And as he would lean it this way, I'd try to see how he reacts as he jumps. And as I'm looking, I'm trying to see if how he reacts according to different things that I do. And I would be looking at his person while that's happening.
Okay. Yeah. So you're able to look him over, and you kind of examine how his as he's sort of playing this little game with you, how his motor functions are operating. Everything seems fine health-wise. What you do notice is that there are nearly invisible seam-like scars crisscrossing his body in strange interlocking patterns. You can see it on his face very faintly, all down his neck. You can see most of his hands and arms, so you can see it on there as well. And another thing you see is that as he's kind of moving around and stuff, you notice that he happens to turn at one point, and there's a green tattoo on the back of his neck. It seems like you can just see it for only a quick moment.
So as I'm doing that, I would be like, you almost got it. You almost got it, buddy. And as he reaches, I would kind of spin it around his neck, and as he kind of turns his head to look, I notice the tattoo. Is there anything specific that I notice about it, or just the fact that there's a tattoo there?
It looks like a stylized ram's head. It's green.
What the fuck?
So as I do that, I would come back and I'd be like, see if you can get it. And as he reaches out, he lunges forward, and I would just give him the trinket. I'm like, you bested me, buddy. that was a good job. And I would kind of pat his head. And as I walk off,
when you pat his head, it is extremely hot. There is like heat radiating off of him.
So as I pat his head, it's almost like, you got me, man. That was so good. I'm proud of you, man. Can't wait till your mom and dad sees you. And as I step off, I look toward Agent Crypt, and I give him a side eye, and I shake my head.
Oh, fuck. I know what that means. And we pile out together. Put the ranger back in there. Just don't let the parents leave with them. What if they show up before we get there? There might be something wrong with him.
I guess I can do that. Something wrong with him.
He just has an unusually high temperature.
Okay.
Just keep him monitoring, keep fluids in him.
Do we need to keep him quarantined here?
Yeah.
I would nod, yes.
Killjoy? Okay.
I would absolutely nod. Yes, keep him.
All right.
Yeah, keep him quarantined.
All right, and I'll keep anyone else away from him. And you see him walk over to his rangers, and they start, getting to work basically. And some of the rangers start escorting anyone that made their way up here downstairs, so that only Brandon and the rangers are up in the upstairs common area.
Look around, and I don't see our penguin, and I don't see. Oh, Kenrich is still with us, right? Kenrich is still here.
Yeah. If
Okay.
he mentions the stylized green ram's head tattooed on the back of his neck, I'm
I don't think he
going
mentioned
to.
yet, but yeah.
Yeah, but I would flip through anything that I may know about a ram's head or a green colored ram's head, anything like that.
Yeah, hold that until we come out.
I'm not a penguin.
I'm not a penguin.
Kingpin, you probably would have finished your search, and you would be standing back in the entryway now if you. I don't know if you want to go up to them or however you want to handle that.
We spot you. I imagine coming out. We block eyes. I grab Kingrich and I pull him up, and we head down the stairs. Kenrich with Killjoy following behind me. I imagine we're coming down. We see you. I have you head back around. Let's get in the car. We need to talk.
Get in the car. What? Okay.
We head back in, rain pouring. We get in the car.
All right,
Well, Killjoy, how about you start?
boys, I need you to know something. Like I said, I don't know much about this. You guys might be more experts than me. But as I was looking over the boy, I didn't want to scare him. So I played with the trinket. He's got scars. It seems like they've woven small, almost invisible scars all over his body. I would have barely caught him had it not been for my training. On the back of his neck, he's got a ram's head, green. It almost looks embedded into his skin. It doesn't look like a stamp. It looks almost like a tattoo. And he's hot. I touched his head, and just as soon as I touched his head, it's almost like I had to get my hand away. He's burning up. I don't know what's wrong with him, but you guys know more about the unnatural than me. I'm just giving my experience as a medic.
Sounds to me like some witch doctor bullshit.
Agent
trivial shit.
Kenrich, you, the way this tattoo is described, because of your archaeology skill, you're able to connect that with a character for boy in the Nahuatl language. I'm probably butchering that word, but that's the language of the Aztecs.
Okay. So then I would relay that information to them and say, what would the Aztecs be doing this far north?
I'm telling you. Okay, we talked about aliens before, but I brought up aliens before, but I mean, there are some solid theories that ancient aliens came and visited our civilization several times in our past. I mean, who's to say that these aren't the precursor aliens to humanity? I mean, from the sounds of this description, it's a taller humanoid creature, pale. I mean, they say we evolved from apes, but we're missing a missing link. I mean, how do we know that this thing didn't engineer us? I mean, sounds like it had an operation done on the child. I'm speculating here, I know, but god damn it, does this raise a lot of red flags for me.
And if there's if there's females and males, could be that that there's a different symbol on them as well. Would I know the symbol for the Nahuatl word for girl that they would probably put on a female?
Yeah. I don't
And
know
what would
it
that
is.
symbol be? Okay.
At the
Okay.
moment, I don't know what it is, but yes, you would know.
Okay. All right. So, whatever it is, I would say if we find the others, maybe we can look out for a sign like this as well. So, looking for more signs of this, whatever this is.
Right. More. What'd you say it was, Kenrich? What language?
That was Nahuatl. It was the Aztecian language, ancient Aztecian language.
Right. We're in California. We're close to the Aztec civilization. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously Central Americas. But that doesn't explain the disappearance, how these disappearances happen, and how we're going to find these children. Apparently, there's more than just this. Brandon, from what I was talking with Brandon about, there's a bunch of children he saw. He named 2 of them by name. In fact, maybe they have a disappearance file themselves. We could look into. I say, we should definitely investigate where he came back from, and he should remain under quarantine. We can't let this child leave. The evidence of surgery and the evidence of this tattoo and his unnatural temperature just, well, this child may not be a child anymore. I mean, if it's anything like the last case we were on, that creature had me for a loop. I was sympathetic for her plight, hoping to get her out of here. It manipulated me. I don't want to be the only
you
one
waddled
here.
through shit just to go save her. I mean, it's just, you know.
As I would for any of you, and then for any man, any woman, anyone. But not a monster.
Agents, all I know is that in all my years as a medic, I've never seen something like this. I've never seen a boy be that hot, live for that long, and come out and be as happy as he is. There's something going on here. There's something.
Or you think he'd be fatigued? I mean, his body's. I mean, even I know response. It's, he's not even. He didn't even seem inflamed, bothered at all. He was just. I mean, how hot do you think he was? Over 100, 110, high fever?
Easy 109. Easy 109.
Yeah, that would kill a man. Let alone a child.
I haven't seen boys that hot in gear in the middle of a Middle Eastern sun. I haven't seen boys that hot. I promise.
And the rain around you suddenly picks up in intensity as you're all talking in the blazer. Lightning strikes a tree near the edge of the clearing, and it's actually uprooted and falls not too far from the station. So it's getting pretty bad out there. And we're going to stop there for tonight. Turn off the rain.
Wow.
So let's hear from our agents before we end. What they've got on their minds, maybe what they're planning on their next steps to be. Start, as usual, with Agent Kingpin.
Yeah, another strange case. This kid's not right. We got to figure out what's going on, and we have to decide on a course of action. How to deal with the parents. These rangers out here that already probably know too much. This is gonna be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. Agent Kenrich.
Kenrich is very sympathetic himself to the situation. He doesn't want to jump to the conclusion that this kid is an alien or a danger or a threat, because he has 3 kids of his own. So he doesn't want to be responsible for putting a child down. So he's really hoping and optimistic that there's something else controlling this, and that once they stop that, they can save this boy. But That's what he's trying to think right now. So,
Right. Okay. So on to Agent Crypt.
So, right now, I agree with Kenrich when I say that I'm hoping it's not a monster, but at the same time, I'm more prepared because I was taking advantage of last time to deal with it if it is a monster, and I don't have the same connection to children like he does because I don't have any kids of my own. As far as this investigation goes beyond that, I mean, I'm hoping I don't have to go all Anakin Skywalker and a bunch of kids, but I mean, if you got to save the world, I mean, whatever. It has to be. But really, who are these men in black with tall, white, pale dudes? They're aliens. I mean, you can't convince me otherwise. So he's read up on his conspiracy theories. He's been deep diving ever since the last time on modern conspiracy and pseudoscience. And boy, ancient aliens are looking really tall in the pyramid for what it could be for me.
Yeah.
But that's Crypt.
All right.
I mean, to be fair, you're a tall, pale person with a black suit on, so maybe you're an alien.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Well, the truth is out there, from what I hear. So
it's out there.
on to Agent Killjoy.
So Killjoy is I'm not gonna say he's quite overwhelmed, but he's definitely out of his element. He doesn't understand quite what's going on. He understands kind of why he was chosen to be a part of this unit. And he understands that there's some weird things going on, but he fell right back into what he was used to, being a medic for this child, understanding what's going on, even though he knows in his heart that this child shouldn't be alive. By all rights, this child should not be alive. He's kind of falling onto his compatriots to try to explain what's going on. But he himself is not quite rattled yet. He kind of doesn't understand what's unfolded so far. He despite being with these guys seeming a mere hours or days, is comfortable with these agents. Obviously he kind of told a little bit of his story and where he came from. He kind of leans on these guys because they're experienced. It doesn't matter how experienced, or if they were just a mission ahead of him, he's leaning onto these guys for support and instruction, but he's also trying to be the biggest benefit that he can with the skills that he has going forward.
All right. Yeah, Killjoy is this is his first operation, so it's going to be interesting to see your interactions with dealing with that and the more experienced agents here. So that's been our trip back into the universe of Delta Green for tonight. We'll pick up the next session at some point, maybe next Saturday, but we'll see. I'm excited to see where this goes and what you guys do next. You're already taking it in ways I hadn't thought about beforehand, so it keeps it fun for me too. So just a reminder for everyone out there that Delta Green is not about guns. Delta Green is not about a bug hunt. Delta Green is not about understanding. Delta Green is about the end. Good night.
Good night.